Kathy.
Thank you, Dennis, and thank you everyone for joining me. I'm excited to share about the power of words and healing and development. And so far this morning, we've already touched on so many aspects, the beliefs that we hold, the ability that we have to manifest through visualization and daydreaming, and we're human, right? We're more than a body and a mind. We are spirit, we're energy. And as humans, we have this wonderful capacity to store memories. We store memories, beliefs, we have fantasies about how our life should be or how it could be. And that's been an age-old practice of how we tell our stories. So it's this energy frozen in fragments that captures not just the words but also the emotion, and it can evoke such strong physical sensations, and it can be wonderful when it's positive, but there's also a lot of stories in our past that are frozen, that are not positive, that have created distressing memories. And as much as we can visualize the positive, there's a very strong benefit in being able to let go or to shift the energy in those distressing memories, because they do tend to show up in our stories, but it's in that self talk that keeps coming back. And we might recognize it as a limiting belief. I'm not good enough. I'm not strong enough. I can't do this. And as much as we can have one part of us telling ourselves that we're better than that, those underlying beliefs, when they're frozen, they can stay frozen and really get in the way of our purpose. They can hold us back without even recognizing it. And there is an ability to shift them, and yet um, we have to know how. And so, over the course of our lifetime, we all have a large number of memories and beliefs. There's nothing saying that we have to resolve everything that bothers us, but we have an opportunity. If we want to go down a path and we have a fear to take the next step, we can identify what that block is that's causing us or holding us back from that next step. And we can shift that energy and resolve it and move forward. So as we get into it, I want you to think a little bit on your own as far as what inspires you, right? If you're thinking of your purpose in this life, if you're thinking about how you want to show up, just think a moment for what it is that inspires you, what environment you're in when you feel inspired, what words you hear or tell yourself when you're inspired. And then I'd also like you to think for a moment what shows up that holds you back. Okay. So you want to do something, you want to take a step, and yet something's holding you back. And just take a moment to connect with that. And often what happens is that we think it is some other person or it is our situation that holds us back. And yet when we think in energy terms, the stressor is a memory, it's a belief that's kind of frozen in our space that's blocking our way. And with that, there's a very beautiful potential to shift that, let go of that memory so that it doesn't continue to block your way. And with this positive visualization, the daydreams, the words that we use to create the reality is very critical, but we also don't want to neglect healing that past. And we hear a lot about healing the past when we talk about intergenerational traumas, and we see things repeating, and those things tend to be in our energy field, in the space around us. We could think of it as the cultural attitudes, right? So sometimes it's our past experiences, the experiences that we personally had, and sometimes it's the energy in society. This morning, what came up was the energy in the Catholic Church, and that frozen energy and how it blocks our path for growth, both individually and collectively. And without shifting our own memories of the past, it can make it hard to let go of that and step into something new. Okay. So just take a moment to visualize, because often we think of memories and we talk about the brain. So we're all about the brain circuitry, or where things are happening in the brain. Um, and sometimes we think there's something wrong with us because we're experiencing anxiety or irrational fears. Um, and we've been told that, it's in our head. But just take a moment and imagine yourself on a beautiful beach, and just see the vivid blue of the ocean and the blue of the sky. Hear the sound of the waves and the smell of the ocean air, right? And the sound of the water. And that experience, just notice where you perceive that in the space around you. Is that image in front of you? Is it all around you? Right? It's not really in your brain. It's in the space around you. And that's the same with the distressing memories. We can locate those memories in the space around us. So if you think of um, something, a memory that evokes less than pleasant emotions, okay, think of that. What are the thoughts around it? What are you feeling in your body? What are the emotions with it? And then just notice what you see and what you hear, and notice where that is in the space around you, right? And again, this isn't in your head, it's actually in your energy field. And so I share the work of logosynthesis. Logosynthesis is a model for healing and development developed by Dr. Willem Lammers out of Switzerland. And it uses the power of words. So once you identify what that distressing memory is, because many of the distressing memories, all we experience is the reactions. We experience the distress, and the actual memory might be hidden because we've pushed it away, and yet it overrides. It kicks in a stress reaction of a fight, flight, freeze mode, and it controls our behaviors. It controls our thoughts, but it's an automatic stress reaction. And using, once we locate what this triggering memory is, or triggering belief, we can use very specific sentences that are the sentences of logosynthesis that actually shifts the energy. So we retrieve our energy out of that memory. We can bring it back to ourselves, and we remove the energy that isn't ours. So sometimes we end up owning these bad memories, and it's not even our energy to own, right? It could be a parent or a teacher or if you're in a car accident, it could be the energy of the steering wheel that compressed your chest or something. So that energy we remove, and then we retrieve our energy that's stuck in the reactions. And so then we become more present. And we have this ability to not trigger an automatic stress reaction. We have an ability to be calm, even if the situation around us is not. And that is where a true essence is. And one of the things from a logosynthesis perspective, there are four basic principles. The first is your essence. You are life energy. You're born with a life purpose. And your true essence doesn't suffer. It's all the experiences and the cultural attitudes that we kind of are born into and experience that trigger our suffering. And energy belongs to us or it doesn't. And you can look at that from a quantum physics standpoint, right? It either belongs to us or it doesn't. It can be in the right place or not. And words have the power to shift this energy. And so often when I talk about this work, people are like, well, Cathy, it can't be that easy, right? Because otherwise we would have known about this. And how do you prove it? And so where it fits in the scientific research is in the area of mental imagery and the mental health issues. What we end up finding is that um, new research is talking about the vividness of mental imagery and the intensity of emotions. They're saying mental imagery has a role in pretty much all mental health issues and mental disorders. It's not the only thing, but it is an integrative model that you can use to help feel better. And so I look at it from the energy of healthy living. So we talk about purpose being the energy of kind of our intention, and nutrition is energy into our body, exercise is energy out, and we sleep to restore our energy. This is about frozen energy and memories, beliefs, and fantasies, and we can shift that energy to feel calm, to regain our true essence because we know what we're here for, but we've kind of lost sight of it along our life experiences. And we can come back to that. And so if you think about your energy and flow, and you think about we all have a unique past, you know, from this perspective, we're all born into our little aspect of the world to learn a life lesson, to live our purpose, and it is all in the connectedness of humanity. We are essence in the matrix of the world, essence in the matrix, and it's about a dynamic balance, and it's about taking action forward to on our own path. So connecting with why we're here and what we are here to learn. And sometimes we think, some of the things we think we're here to learn is maybe not really. Sometimes we can get a little energized with things we think we're here to learn. Cognitively, it might be a little bit different than energetically. So sometimes if we feel really intense about some purpose, we might want to even just kind of assess that. Is that being driven by a past experience that's kind of blocking us from our true purpose? And what we find in this work often is, where people come to as they kind of peel away the layers one issue at a time, they start to really realize that they are here to love. And it's about a dynamic balance to guide and support and be that energy and that lighthouse for others. And sometimes it's not so much about doing as being. And that's the beauty again of a lighthouse, right? And our stories are important, and yet it's about resolving some of the energy that's frozen in those stories, that we can create a new path forward in a changing world for our, for our children, for ourselves, and for humanity. So as we move into the conversation, I'd just like you to kind of think about, from your perspective, what would be different for you if there is a distressing memory that's currently bothering you, or a limiting belief that is currently bothering you. What would be different for you if you could just let that go? Thank you.